Welcome to No Silver Spoons, the podcast that tells it like it is when it comes to leadership, business, and building something real. Now in its third season, this show is hosted by Beth Herman, a 5-time CEO who's built 5 personal brands, making over 8 figures while staying for the communities she served. Why no silver spoons? Because in leadership, no one hands you success on a platter. There's no shortcut, no easy pass, and definitely no silver spoon. It takes grit, intentionality, and showing up as the core version of you. This podcast is about what happens when you put in the work and take ownership of your path. When you decide to build it step by step, no excuses. Every week, you'll get tools, stories, and fresh perspectives to keep you moving toward the results you want. You'll walk away with clarity and focus on what actually moves the needle without the fluff. And with Beth's sharp insight, infectious energy, and no-nonsense approach, you'll remember why you're here: to lead, to grow, and to make it happen. So buckle up. This isn't just another podcast. This is No Silver Spoons. Let's get to work. Now, here's your host, Beth Herman.
Welcome back to the show. Today isn't just any episode. It's our 50th episode. A huge milestone here on this show. And as you might have noticed in the intro, things sound a little bit different. I want to first, before making any sort of announcements or share with you what's going on that you've probably already guessed, I want to start by thanking you. Each of you who've tuned in and shared your feedback and supported this platform. Because of you, this podcast has welcomed over 17,000 listeners in our very first year. And I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. I just want to sit here in that for a second. Today's episode isn't just about how many listeners we've had or the fact that we're in more than 1,000 cities or that we're being listened to in over 100 countries. No, today's episode is about where we're going, because today I'm announcing that Dentistry Support The Podcast is officially being rebranded. I've been working on this for months. You see, a few months back, I decided I was going to hire a mentor who understood podcasting far better than I could ever explain it or teach it to someone else. She shared with me that I was sequestering myself to a niche of people and not getting out there to the rest of the world who wanted to hear all the things that I had to say. This podcast is taking on a new name and stepping into a bigger and bolder vision. Starting today, Dentistry Support The Podcast will now be known as No Silver Spoons, powered by Dentistry Support. That's right. I'm calling it No Silver Spoons. And I want to explain why this name is so important to me. You see, I grew up without any silver spoons. Nothing was handed to me. Everything I've built has come from grit, determination, and learning most of the times the hard way. You know, it's really hard to take advice from other people because we think we know something better. We think we get it. And it's really easy to see someone else who's made it to the top and think, wow, they've got it all. They've just had it all. But I didn't. I didn't come from anything that made me have it all. I had to figure it out. This podcast has always been about real stories and lessons and truth. I haven't been sugarcoating anything. It's been real, honest. The truth about making mistakes and all of the challenges I've faced and growing through them. The statement, No Silver Spoons, perfectly captures exactly what I want you to hear from me. I even trademarked it. I couldn't believe it wasn't trademarked. It's a name that speaks to not just what my story is, but the stories of so many of you and the guests who've been joining me here so far. The truth is that success isn't always polished. Sometimes it's really messy, and sometimes it feels like you're failing more than you're actually succeeding. But those moments and those mistakes and those missteps, it's where the magic happens. That's what shapes us, right? I've learned so much through trial and error, through showing up even when I didn't feel ready, through moments of doubt, when quitting just felt like it would probably be easier. Sometimes I scroll through my friends' Instagram stories and I see things of them sharing with me, I almost sold my business today. I almost just quit and walked away. but they didn't. And neither will you. You're not going to get up and quit. I didn't quit. My friends aren't quitting. We're all in the same boat. You see, we've all been there. We've all experienced these crazy things that we just don't realize they're part of our story. No Silver Spoons is about honoring that grit, celebrating that growth, and being honest about the work that it takes to build something meaningful. You see, we forget that. We get so stuck in worrying about the finances, worrying about getting the next client, keeping the existing clients, making our company better. We get lost in all of it. This episode and all the ones that come after it, it's going to be about things that are meaningful, stories that will help you realize you're not alone. This podcast is going to feature people who embody this very spirit, people who learned through hard work, who didn't have all of the answers. They didn't have somebody who just wrote a check so they could have a business. They didn't inherit a business and then totally take it off the ground and do something incredible with it. They had to work really hard to get to the incredible side. I'm going to keep talking about my mistakes. And I'm not always proud of what those mistakes were. I'm not always proud that I went through that season of my life. But if you don't hear about all that and all you see is my personality and my good mood and the profits of my business and the things that I have and the places that I go, how can I relate to you? How can we keep going? I want you to know that good things come when you keep going, even in the really, really hard moments. You know, they say ignore social media. It's just a highlight reel of all the good that people have. But I also think you should celebrate. I think you should be really proud of all the good things that happen in your world. I think you should be excited about that. I think you should share it with your friends and be so proud that you're in that moment. I think you should document it. Of everything I want you to hear today, I want you to know that this podcast is for everyone. It is for those in dentistry, of course, because that's where my heart lies. That's where I started. But it's also for anyone in any industry, at any stage of life, who values that determination and that growth, and that mistakes happen. No Silver Spoons is a place where all voices are welcome and everyone can listen. If you're in dentistry, keep coming back. I want you here. If you're in any other industry, you can listen to any of my past episodes, and all of the things I talk about are applicable in any business. And I want you to stay in that space with me. I want to also reassure you that while the name is changing, the heart of this podcast remains exactly the same. You can still expect the same thoughtful conversations, actionable takeaways, inspiring stories, and my that's good moments. I know that's a little cheesy, but I kind of like it. If you don't know what a that's good moment is, go back and listen to my other episodes. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about it on this episode here. I'm going to continue focusing on leadership, business, and life lessons, things that really, really matter. And yes, I'm still going to keep highlighting things from the dental industry. But this new name, No Silver Spoons, it truly allows us to broaden the conversation, to welcome voices and lessons that go beyond just one industry. I'm keeping the soul of what made this podcast special in the first place, and I'm taking it even further. Here's what you can look forward to. This year, 2025, we're growing big. We'll have new segments, new voices, new stories. Some episodes will feature people from unexpected fields, sharing lessons that they've learned without a silver spoon. I'll be introducing bonus content, some behind-the-scene looks, some downloadable resources, and ways for you to connect with me even more deeply within the community that we've built here. And I can't say too much yet. And sometimes when people say that, it drives me crazy. But I just can't say too much yet. But let's just say we have some phenomenal guests lined up who are going to blow your mind. I want you to stay tuned for announcements on that and make sure that you're following me on social media. We are actually rebranding the Instagram page, Dentistry Support The Podcast, to now be No Silver Spoons. And I want you to connect with me there. I want you to follow along and see what's coming next. This change means that we are no longer just a podcast for dentistry. No Silver Spoons is for anyone from any industry, any background, or any life stage. And if you're someone who values hard work, growth, and learning through real experiences, then this podcast is still for you. When I started this podcast, I didn't know how it would resonate or if anyone would even listen, but you did. And not only did you listen, but you've helped this podcast grow into something much bigger than I ever imagined. To me, No Silver Spoons is more than a name. It's a promise to keep showing up authentically, to share stories that matter, and to remind every listener that you don't need a silver spoon to build something extraordinary. You see, I hemmed and hawed about this podcast for 3 years. I wrote and built multiple episodes and covers, never using any of them, talking with people who I thought should be the hosts with me, thinking I couldn't do it all by myself. But you can do anything. I want to keep hearing from you. So if you check the show notes, you can actually send me a text message and connect with me directly. I want to hear your thoughts on the rebrand. I want to hear your favorite takeaways from the episodes we've had in the past and topics that you want me to talk about. Your input means a lot to me, and I want to continue connecting with you. I want to make sure that you know how to still connect with me. So in the show notes, you'll see all the different social media platforms I have, and even a link if you'd like to be a guest on the show. Your involvement helps us grow and reach even more people who can benefit from these conversations. I want to thank you again for being here and for being part of this incredible shift with me. You are why this matters so much. Before we close, I want to take a moment to express a little bit more gratitude to the dental community. You've welcomed me and supported me and challenged me to take this leap into a broader space. To those who continue to encourage me to rebrand and grow into a platform that suits everyone, thank you for believing in me. It really is an honor to accept that challenge. I'm so excited about what's ahead. This is really special to me because it represents all of us. Those who work hard, those who embrace their flaws, those who keep going for the better. You're going to hear a few stories of some really crazy things that happened to me along my journey. People that I thought were friends that really weren't. What to watch out for, how to protect yourself, but also how to welcome in the most beautiful opportunities. So as we close this 50th episode, I want to thank you for being here and welcome you officially to No Silver Spoons. And yes, we are still powered by Dentistry Support, but I'm grateful you're here in any industry. So, as you'll hear me say in all future episodes, keep the grit, share the goodness, and never stop growing. I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us in another episode of No Silver Spoons, powered by Dentistry Support. Remember, success doesn't come with shortcuts, and leadership doesn't come with a silver spoon. It's built on hard work, intentional action, and the decision you make every day to keep moving forward. If you're ready to connect or join the conversation, text us using the link in the show notes or visit sarahbethherman.com for more. And while you're there, don't miss our digital library packed with tools to help you keep growing and leading with purpose. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, and know this, you've got everything it takes. We'll see you next time on No Silver Spoon.